We got episode 176, week 16 recap for you. Your hosts Brian and Craig. Craig, brother man, how you doing?
How you doing, sir?
I'm hanging in there. It's just Tuesday, and it feels like a Friday.
Yeah.
Another week.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys, we got the week 16 recap for you as we cover those games. We got our week 16 power rankings. Our Thursday pick of the week. We go over the bowl games this weekend, and we got your headlines, of course, right after this. All right, guys, welcome in. I'm glad you're here with us. We hope you had a great, fantastic, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, and hopefully you're off this week. And a lot of people are, but we unfortunately don't have that kind of job when we are off. But back to work we go. How was your Christmas, Craig?
Good. A couple days off and right back at it, but we're good to go.
I feel you. I had a pretty good Christmas too. We're gonna have this weekend off too, so start the New Year's. So starting that off right. All right, guys. Well, week 16 came and is gone. We're gonna go over the games here for you. Thursday night, the 22nd, we had the Jaguars dominate the Jets, and the Jets are kind of turning into shambles after the way they started this season and their quarterback situation and their questions that they have there as an organization. And then you got the Jaguars, who have kind of come on as of late. Trevor Lawrence is kind of looking like the guy that they thought he was going to be after they make the head coaching change over the offseason. They're both 7-8. But the Jaguars get the victory there, 19-3. Wasn't even a game.
Yeah, and it appears they're getting hot at the right time because Tennessee is not. So they've taken the stronghold in the division, and so it looks like the Jags have the front run to punch their own way into the playoffs here. And about 5 weeks ago, that was not heard of.
We were still thinking of the Titans, even though they haven't been playing well.
Absolutely.
I picked the Colts to win at the beginning of the year. I thought Matt Ryan, but that was a whole.
My Titan pick looked real good until about 5 weeks ago.
Yeah,
looking good now.
If anybody had money on the Jaguars, then kudos to you because
I did not.
It looks like they're going to win that. And then Saturday was most of the games, which was a little weird for me. But Saturday we had the Bills dominate the Bears 35-13. Not really much to talk about.
I mean, it was closer. I mean, the Bears were leading at halftime. So
yeah, they were. It was 10-6 at half.
Yeah.
The Bills woke up in the second half. They scored 15 in the third and 14 in the fourth. So to kind of put that away, they're 12-3. Probably win that division.
They win it. They win if they win this week. It's automatic.
Yeah.
So.
And the Bears fighting for that number one pick. They're up there
doing well.
They're doing well for what they need. Browns and Saints. I
wish you had a ticket bowl.
Yeah. I thought Browns are going to win this one. Saints come back. I mean, we both picked the Saints to win this one.
Yeah.
But they were up 10-3 at half. Didn't look like the Saints were doing much. Let me look up Deshaun Watson's numbers because, my gosh, 15 of 30 for 135 yards and an interception.
If you look up putrid in the dictionary, there's a picture of Watson's football card there.
Oh, terrible. And you got Andy Dalton was 8 of 15. They only threw the ball 15 times for 92 yards.
Taysom Hill probably threw it a couple times, but still.
No, not one pass by Taysom Hill.
Okay, then.
They threw the ball 15 times. This is one of those games that was dominated by we're going to run the ball and
Alvin
play
Kamara
defense.
had 846 carries.
Yeah, yeah, 76 yards. What a boring game that was. Chiefs and Seahawks. The Chiefs won this one easily by 14
That's
and won 24-10.
exactly what they thought it was going to be.
Yeah. Seattle for a while we're like, holy moly, Seattle's looking good, and then
Yeah.
they turned
And
in
then
Geno
they've
Smith, and then
become the
Geno
team that
Smith.
we thought they were to begin with.
Yeah, it looks like Russell Wilson's playing for him still.
Yeah. Ooh, get to that in a minute.
Terrible. Whew. Vikings barely sneak by the Giants 27-24 as they get a 61-yard walk-off field goal
Which
to
was
beat the
good from
Giants.
about 66.
Oh, it was right down the middle, and yeah,
Right down Main Street.
had 5 more yards to go.
Yeah.
Justin Jefferson is a beast.
Yeah.
A beast. He is like 200 yards away from the all-time record in 1 year.
I think he has to be in the MVP conversation, even though he won't be. He should be.
Yeah, I mean there needs to be the quarterback award and then the MVP who can't be a quarterback because it's going to a quarterback.
Yeah, yeah. It's going to either be Mahomes or Burrow at this point because of the Hurts injury.
Nah, maybe not. If he misses one game, I don't. We'll see. But what Gardner Minshew did with that team, that it looked like Hurts might have been playing. You have the Bengals barely hanging on to beat the Patriots.
Yeah,
Barely hanging on.
They were up 20-0 or 22-0 and ended up winning 22-19.
22-18. Did you see that that long pass that got batted down for the touchdown? Did you see that?
Yeah.
Freaking Mac Jones throws this long bomb. It's like 3rd and 20. He throws this long bomb to the end zone, and the Patriots wide receiver basically looks like he just bats it. I guess he can't come down with it, and he bats it forward. Well, the other wide receiver catches it and walks in for the end zone. I was like, oh, that was pretty insane play. The Bengals hang on to win. They're moved to 11-4, and we got the Lions. What a letdown! You're fighting for the playoffs. You've been stomping mud holes in people, and you go to Carolina. You allow 17 points in the second quarter.
No. That's the problem. They didn't go to Carolina.
Yeah,
They didn't show up.
37-23. They get smoked.
Well, maybe the offense showed up. The defense didn't show up at all. They let up 2 running backs. Both of them had over 100 yards. They were just gashing 30 yards a pop. I mean, handoff. I bet Sam Darnold didn't have 150 yards passing, and they still had 300 yards of total offense.
Sam Darnold threw for 250.
I don't know where, because I watched most of this game, and all I saw was running backs going for 15 and 20 a pop.
You had 320 yards rushing.
Yeah, 320 yards rushing.
Jared Goff was a leading rusher for Detroit.
Yeah.
What? He had 15 yards. He threw for 355, 3 touchdowns.
Which that was all in the back half of the game, because at halftime he had about 80 yards.
At halftime it was 24-7.
Yeah.
And I was like, what's going on with the Lions there? Insane. Ravens hold on to beat the Falcons 17-9. The Pro Bowl, they got a Pro Bowl quarterback, Huntley over there. What a joke.
That's why we don't vote for that.
Joke. We picked the Texans and we were right, as we both picked the Texans. They beat the Titans 19-14. 49ers stayed dominant as they 37-20 over the Commanders.
First time they let up 20 points since October.
Yeah. They're mopping the floor, people.
That team's going to be tough to beat. I don't care what anybody says.
Well, then we got your game of the week, and that is the Eagles fall to the Cowboys 34-40. Now, let's get into this game real quick, because first of all, I just wanted an entertaining game, and we got that. Gardner Minshew looked like not the Gardner Minshew we know. He threw for 355 yards, 2 touchdowns. He threw 2 interceptions, which were great plays. They weren't these right to the defender kind of passes. The
First one
defenders
was a little bit.
snatched a little bit. It was off. It was off target, and that's why
Yeah.
it was. But he made a hell of a catch.
The second one was just a straight rob job,
And I think if the wide receiver fights for that ball, they're on the ground together, it goes to the offense. But he didn't even kind of.
I'm a little surprised they didn't challenge it because he still had possession of it
Yeah.
going to the ground, and then like this happened several times in that game where the Eagles had a football and Dallas just on the ground rip it away. The fumble right before 3rd and 30 that Dallas gets back, the ref already says it's Philadelphia's ball, and then all of a sudden Biotish goes down to the ground and wrestles it away and comes out with the ball, and they're like, well, all right, I guess Dallas's ball. Sure. I mean, the ref had already pointed Philadelphia football, and then on the next play on 3rd and 30, Dak drops a dime in the bucket 60 yards over the top on a 9 route that T.Y. Hilton just burns Darius Slay, and the 31-year-old, the one-trick pony can still do that, I guess.
Now, this game will be known for the 3rd and 30. You just said it. They gave up 3rd and 30. If they don't get that right there, it's almost kind of game over. And 4 interceptions or 4 turnovers.
4 turnovers. I mean, Eagles handoff that the guy just slings in the air. I mean, he's only fumbled once all year, and they didn't even really hit him. All of a sudden, he's just tossing the ball. It was just insane.
Gardner Minshew played well.
I mean, he had 2 passing touchdowns, a running touchdown.
He played well. Miles Sanders only had 65 yards rushing. Devontae Smith had 113 yards. A.J. Brown had 103.
Devontae Smith, I think, hurt us more than Brown did. Brown started. Devontae Smith went nuts the second half.
Now, I got 2 things for you. My 2 takeaways from this game. Well, I got 3. 1, if Hurts plays, you'll probably lose this game. But my other 2 takeaways is this. You got to give Dak Prescott a round of applause. After he threw that interception, he threw that terrible interception. I was like, what is that?
Yeah.
He was almost perfect. He was actually perfect, they said on the radio today, in zone defense. He was 24-24 in zone defense. He came out and threw for 347 yards, 3 touchdowns. Fantastic. The rushing game for Dallas, they did rush for 115 yards. It didn't feel like they was that dominant. Dak Prescott was their second leading rusher. You got to give kudos to Dak.
Really got some yards that game. Pollard was really nowhere to be found.
Nowhere to be found. He had 9 carries for 19 yards. Zeke Elliott had 55 yards on 16 carries. It seemed like he had more. He had those he had those punishing kind of runs.
And that's been his job all year is those type of runs.
CeeDee Lamb proved it again, 120 yards, 10 catches. So my takeaway is Dak Prescott.
Which is crazy because he had 100 yards at halftime.
If he plays this way, the Cowboys could be anybody.
Yeah.
Secondly,
that defense is going to have to do more than what it's done.
Is a big question mark.
Yes.
You allow 34 points to Gardner Minshew at home. That is unacceptable. You look at this Cowboy team and the beginning of the season, we're talking about, man, our defense is going to have to carry this offense. Our defense is going to have to carry this offense. And then now it's, man, if Dak doesn't play like this throughout the playoffs and carry the defense, we're going to be in trouble. I wonder what has changed where this defense is not getting to the pass rusher anymore. They're not sacking quarterbacks.
Yeah.
It seems like Parsons has been taken out of the game. It's really interesting.
Well, that's exactly what it is. It's
gotta be frustrating for Cowboys fans.
That's exactly what it is. Is they're not getting to the quarterback, which is now exposing the back end of that defense. The back end of that defense has been suspect on one side of the field all year long, and now it's being exposed for that. There's been a couple injuries with the safeties and stuff like that, but that's what happens is first of all, to start the game, Diggs bites on a double move and gets burned by AJ Brown. Bland had the great interception, but he also, his guy Smith, Devontae Smith, the second half goes for multiple huge catches and 2 touchdowns and was wide open on both the touchdowns that he caught. I want to talk about that touchdown celebration too. That's talk about class act. Wow.
What was the touchdown? Oh,
where he kicks the door into the Salvation Army and robs the kids of their presents. Sweet. What are we doing, bro?
It's someone made Christmas a GIF and said he's celebrating. He's doing the Brett Favre celebration.
celebrating robbing the kettle. I mean, I get what he was trying to do with the whole Zeke jumping in the kettle type deal, but
I laughed so hard.
Come on now.
Oh my gosh.
He literally kicks the door in and unloads the presents and is giving them to his teammates.
Kicks the door in.
Yeah, puts the mask on. That's probably frowned upon. And no flag.
That was totally hilarious.
2 thumbs up.
Only because of the Brett. When I saw it, GIF, it said he's doing the Brett Favre celebration. I died. It was over.
So anyhow, but the thing I'm questioning is where's all of a sudden that we thought the Eagles were going to run the ball and win the football that game. They did not. The weak part of your defense has been better. You've got the run kind of under control, and now all of a sudden we're just letting teams just throw the ball all over the yard, up and down the field. And I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to a place, the first round of the playoffs, that you do not want to do that. Mark my words.
Tom Brady is washed.
What is the one thing that he will do if you give him time? Where you lose to Tom Brady is Tom Brady has to have people in his face.
But his offensive line is dead.
Okay, they've already beat Dallas once this year with the same dead offensive line. Dallas's offense didn't show up that game, so you hope that if they put up 40, that's the answer. I mean, Tampa is only putting up 15 points a game, so yes, you hope. But I'm telling you right now, if you let those wide receivers in Tampa run free, Tom Brady will find them.
Yeah, he can still do that.
and he can do that. And if you don't get in his face and don't rush him and he doesn't have people around him, he's going to find them. And that is a terrible, terrible, terrible thing to do.
I don't know.
Because that'll get McCarthy fired. You want to know where Sean Payton will be? Let 90-year-old Tom Brady beat the Dallas Cowboys in the first round of the playoffs, and I'll tell you where Sean Payton will be next year. He'll be on the sidelines of the Dallas Cowboys.
Well, here's the thing, and this may be a Cowboy mentality because I got another buddy of mine that said he's worried about facing Tom Brady. Don't. That Tampa's terrible. If you cannot go into Tampa and beat Tampa the way they play this year, then it just wasn't meant to be because Tampa is bad. You should have no worry against Tampa. Now I know Tom Brady, but Tom Brady's he's got to hang it up.
Brady. Never.
Yeah, but look how bad. I mean, come on. They're so bad this year. They might not even make the playoffs.
Has anybody ever, there's a lot of teams in the NFL. I'm not sure any of them can say they've never beat Tom Brady. Never.
He's worried about it. I'm like, it must be.
I'm worried about it because of the wide receivers that can run free. You know, they have good wide receivers, and the quarterback that can still do his job can do it if you don't pressure him. But why? And that's what Dallas has done the last couple weeks.
Why have they looked so bad then?
Because people are getting pressure on him. People are rushing him. People are forcing him to throw throws that he doesn't make. And that was Dallas's. You know, Dallas only let up 19 in the opener, but they only scored 10 or 7 or 3 or I don't remember what it was. It wasn't very much. You know, Prescott breaks his hand. So yeah, ideally, if you score 40, then I don't think that Brady can get the track meet with you. But
No. Look, I'm
I
telling you.
just I'm
You're
telling you
y'all
that
y'all
the perfect storm of how Tampa wins a football game and how Dallas is losing football games is exactly what's happening right now.
I just see Dallas losing in the second round.
That's
You
probably
know,
what's going to happen. You're probably lose to San Francisco, or you're going to go to Philly and may not be able to thing. I in a division game where I don't know if Hurts will be 100%. I take that, but I don't think they can beat San Francisco right now. San Francisco hasn't
well, your
let up
second
20
round would
points.
be the Eagles.
Well, then I think they have at least a chance. I think they have no chance
No, you
against
have a
San
chance.
Francisco.
You have a chance to beat the Eagles. You just did it.
Yeah.
Now, like I said, with the it's funny because if Dak Prescott was playing the earlier the year when y'all played, they probably Cowboys probably win, and if Hurts is playing here, Eagles probably win. But who knows? And now when y'all face each other in the playoffs, I think it's almost inevitable y'all gonna face each other in the playoffs. You're gonna face a team that we haven't seen Hurts on the field with Dak this year, so
Yeah, it'll
it's
be
gonna
a
be
game you
interesting.
haven't seen.
But yeah, Dak played great Sunday. I mean, you can't really argue that. You take away that interception
He's played
and
great. He's played great other than
played
a
great
pick
last.
here or a pick there
Yeah,
since the last 5 weeks. He's the only guy in all year who's thrown for 300 yards against Philadelphia. No one has thrown for 300
yeah.
yards all season against Philadelphia.
What
And
and the
so yeah, the first pick was ill advised, and he just didn't think the guy could jump that high, and just got lazy with it. And but his recovery from it was amazing.
all right, you got the Steelers in another horrible game, beating Raiders 13-3.
Yeah, boy, talk about a team didn't show up.
The Raiders were up 10-3 at half, and they gave up 10 points in the fourth to lose this one. The Raiders, I don't know. I don't know how long you've got this coach. The owner's already come out and said, "Hey, McDaniels, don't worry about it. You got plenty of time. I'm not, you're not on the hot seat, basically." And I don't know how you're 6-9 with the talent they got on this team, the money they spent on this team. Um,
Yeah,
Usually
no.
at the end of the year, you spend all this money to get guys in here, and at the end of the year, losing record, it's like, all right, someone's got to go. But I guess they're going to give him time there. But that doesn't look good either. I mean,
Mm-mm. I mean,
it's
it's
not
not
the
dumpster
Denver
fire Denver,
Broncos, but
but
yeah,
it's real close.
it's almost wheels off the track there.
Yeah, yeah.
But and the Steelers, and they don't look very good either.
No.
All right, then we go to Sunday's games and Packers Dolphins. Um, First half, Tua's darting us up. I said, man, they're up 20-10, 20-13. We scored a field goal at the end of the halftime. Tua's looking good. Green Bay's looking like crap. Aaron Rodgers missing throws. Our best wide receiver goes out. I'm like, yeah, we're going to lose this game. Well, we don't. We win 26-22 in the second half. Throws 3 consecutive interceptions. Right? I mean, just
Horrible. Like
terrible.
right to I don't know what he was looking on any of them.
He overthrew Hill and one right to Alexander. The last one that sealed the deal,
Was right to the
they
linebacker.
were
Like,
they were
I
like,
mean,
this is high school stuff that he should
yes,
have caught here.
yes, no way,
Um,
no way.
we'll get into a backstory a little bit in headlines about that, but Packers still alive. They got to win out. They got to have the Commanders lose one or the Giants lose the next two. Is it possible we do it? Sure, but we got to face the Vikings and the Lions. We probably don't. I was on Team Tank 3-4 weeks ago. We keep winning games, so whatever. Screw it. Get into the playoffs if
I
you
think
can.
the
At this
Minnesota
point,
game will be your deal, and I think getting unless Washington loses this week, I don't know what Dallas has to play for in Week
yeah,
18.
you sit out your players
Um,
just to be
that's
healthy.
never been a thing for McCarthy. He's never really done that. Even the year that they made the playoffs, he played guys, up until the end. Because especially if I don't know. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I'm just hoping for one more loss for
I don't
them,
know who
us
the
going
Giants
out, but
play. I don't know who the Giants play week 18. I know that I think they play Philadelphia this week, don't they?
I'm not sure. I haven't even checked that. But the Packers are favored against the Vikings this week. Because the
What?
Vikings, yes, because the Vikings are frauds. I'm telling you, they're 11-0 in one score games, which that never happens. That says, all right, they've gotten lucky quite a bit. We have a better DVOA.
Well, they should have lost. They should have lost the last 2 weeks.
They're the
They
only
were down
team.
33, and then the Giants had them down, and they somehow come back and win that football game.
They're the only team in NFL history to have the record they have or whatever. I think it's either that or win 11 one score games and have a they only have like a 3 differential in points.
Well, the Giants are
Terrible.
8-7-1 and have a negative 28-point differential. So do that.
Yeah, insane. I'm like, what? They're frauds. The Packers, the Vikings don't got nothing to play
Yeah,
for.
can I play them in the second round?
Yeah. And then the Lions, though, they'll probably be fighting for the playoff spot, just like we were. It could
The
come down
Lions the
to
last week. Yeah, if you get down to that, you're going to be in trouble because
yeah.
they will be.
So
They should beat the Bears this week and have a front run to the playoffs.
yep. Which is well, I don't it could be Packers Lions for the last wild card spot there, but
Could be.
we'll see. Broncos absolutely get just roundhouse kick to the face, 51-14. Baker Mayfield has a day. Let's see. Oh, I guess not. I mean, 230 yards, 2 touchdowns. They rushed for 118 yards on the ground. Cam Akers looked pretty good. What I guess the Broncos defense, and I picked Denver to win this game.
Russ throws 14 picks that game. So
3 interceptions.
yeah,
They pit Brett Reapin, whatever his name is. They only rush like their leading rusher is only rushed for 34 yards. Like what? Where's this defense at, Denver? Like that's what I was hoping on here that they would step up and win. But now 4-11 are terrible. Rams are 5-10, and just absolute just garbage.
yeah.
Garbage. Bucks beat the Cardinals 19-16 to stay. They said basically they're pretty much going to wrap up the division if they win
They
this next
win and
week.
they
They
win and they
play
clinch.
yeah they play the Panthers, and then the Cardinals clinch their way in Monday Night Football as they beat the horrible Colts 20-3. So
And that might just save that guy's job.
yeah,
We were talking about the Chargers charging it up and the time for a head coaching change, them somehow making the playoffs. They're going to have to play Cincinnati round 1. They don't want to do that. But it might save his job unless they just go in the playoffs and just get absolutely embarrassed. If it's kind of a game and they kind of show some deals, then maybe the injuries, he can point to some of the injuries. Keenan Allen's been hurt. The wide receiving corps has been decimated. And so, yeah. Maybe.
I mean, at one point, when you have a quarterback the way you do, and we know Herbert's a good quarterback. I'm not gonna just sit here and blame it on him. There are some times where, yeah, you're gonna blame him a little bit. He's gonna take some of that blame, and you got the talent. Then it falls on the head coach, and I think Staley his stint might be over. Maybe not this year because they are going to make the playoffs, but they are underachieving big time there in LA. So I think Craig is frozen. Craig, are you there, Craig? Yep, Craig is frozen. He'll be back in a second. I mean, the Chargers are underachieving. I projected that they would have a I projected that they would win the division. I projected that they would make it all the way to the AFC Championship game. They still could. They still could make it there. but I'm going to highly doubt that. And they underachieve. They don't score an offense. Maybe they need a new offensive coordinator. I don't know if Staley is actually calling, the offensive plays or what, but they need to change there to get this quarterback going. And we'll see if it works out. But and Craig's right. That might save his job out there in LA. Craig is back, having some internet issues there, but
AT&T at its finest.
at its finest. No, you're right. That probably this might save Staley's job, making the playoffs, but they're underachieving.
Yeah,
And
no, yeah, I don't
there's
doubt
no ifs,
that,
ands,
but
or
it
buts
might
about
just
it.
give him another year.
Yeah. You have the talent. The team spent money. You have a quarterback and Justin Herbert, who's
First
amazing.
time in his history that they're going to make the playoffs with him.
Yeah.
Here we were thinking he's an amazing quarterback, and he basically his career record is 500 or just a game or two under 500, and the first time he ever makes the playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, there's something to it. Like he surprised me coming out because the scouting reports said he was not ready for the NFL to start year one. He basically starts year two after the debacle of what's his name with the punctured lung, Tyrod Taylor's punctured lung.
Oh yeah,
And
the doctor that stabs the needle into his deal.
He never gets his job back, and Herbert is one of those. It's interesting because he makes these throws that no one else makes. He makes these throws, and you're just in awe. Oh my gosh, what an amazing pass that was! But there's something missing as far as what it takes to win games. The plays he needs to make. And I don't know if that's Staley is calling the offense. Maybe he needs a different offense.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not sure, but. And I projected the Chargers to be in the AFC Championship game, and they could be, right, because they made the playoffs. But it's going to take a lot to get there.
Yeah.
I just don't
You have
see
to
it
beat
happening.
a hot Cincinnati team or a hot Buffalo team,
or Kansas City, or you got to go through those.
I don't think you're
going
to beat any of those teams.
All right, our Thursday night pick. Those are the games of Week 16. Our Thursday night pick for Week 17. You got an easy game: Cowboys versus Tennessee. In Tennessee, it's obviously Cowboys. I mean,
they still have something to play for because they won't know the result of the Philadelphia game, so you can still technically win the division.
I think you could pick Cooper Rush in and win this game. I mean,
probably the way Tennessee has looked. When they lost to Houston the other day, I mean Houston has played better, but Houston's not actively trying to win football games, and Tennessee didn't look good at all.
Not at all.
And you won't have Tannehill for another week still. So you're going to go with the rookie quarterback in Malik Willis.
I thought he was out the rest of the year.
Willis?
No.
Oh, no, Tannehill? Somehow he had ankle surgery, and they said he'd be ready for Week 18. I don't think that's a possibility.
Well, I mean, a good division on the line, I guess. I mean,
that's what they were saying because, they were, they could still try to make the playoffs and win the division, but I just don't see it, especially if they lose this week and Jacksonville wins. I think that's over, so I don't, think you see him if that's the case.
All right, it is time for the Week 16 power rankings. My teams, I didn't have much change.
No, yeah,
I really didn't. And just so you guys, real quick, if you want to get on it and comment to us, go on to YouTube, our Outspoken Network, the Sportscast tablet there, and you can comment live to our show and react with us, and that would be awesome. Week 16 power rankings. Let's go from 5 to 1. The Bengals to me are at number 5. They're on fire right now. They stumbled away against the Patriots, but the Patriots have a good defense of Bill Belichick. They won the game still on the road in Foxborough, and I got them there at 5, looking strong going into the playoffs.
That's the same thing. They probably could be a little higher, but I just with the other four teams, I just don't. I just think that's where they need to be.
Number 4, I got the Chiefs. I got the Chiefs at number 4 there. They're looking good. Their defense still worries me a little bit. Um, but Patrick Mahomes is doing his job, and they just, even when they don't, even when they look a little off on offense, they still find ways to win games. And I like this team, and I got them at number 4.
I got Philadelphia with the quarterback injury and um, the defense kind of being exposed for the first time all year. You might have a blueprint on how to give Philadelphia some trouble. But they're still got two losses and they're still going to be the 1 seed. So I have them at 4.
I got the Bills at 3. Um, I mean, they are a juggernaut. Well, I wouldn't say really a juggernaut. They started off the season as a juggernaut, but they just beat the Bears um, handily in the second half. Team you don't want to face in the playoffs. Um, I would like to see them take that step in the playoffs and flip on that next switch and be the team that we thought they were capable of being this year. But we'll see if that happens. Who do you have at 3, Craig?
I have Buffalo as well. I have been a little bit disappointed, and maybe it's the UCL injury, maybe it's um, just that they haven't really had. They've pretty much had a stronghold on the division for the last 3 weeks. Miami has fallen into to deal. The Patriots aren't as good as we thought. The Jets have fallen on dire straits. So maybe with kind of having the division on lockdown, even though it's not officially theirs yet, maybe they've kind of gone into cruise control. But I haven't seen what I saw the first month of the season. The first month of the season was Josh Allen revenge tour, and we talked about it, and we didn't know if they'd lose a game. And all of a sudden, they hit a real big stumbling block. Miami beat them, and they looked bad against Detroit on Thanksgiving, and they should have lost that game,
Yeah.
and they should have lost a couple more games. And they're winning, but they're winning very. I mean, they were down to the lowly Chicago Bears at halftime, and then all of a sudden, kind of kicking in. And I'm telling you right now, in the playoffs, if you get behind the block and get behind a Cincinnati team or get behind a Kansas City team or get behind if Miami gets healthy and starts to put up some points, you don't want to be playing catch up. So I need to see Josh Allen revenge tour mode kick back in the last couple weeks and make a statement because the bye could actually hurt him. Puts a team into kind of the lackluster form, and I understand nobody wants to play in Buffalo in January because there might be 19 inches of snow on the ground, but I'm telling you, it's if they have to kick it in, they need to kick it in, and I haven't seen that other gear.
Exactly right, and who knows if that gear comes on in the
Yeah,
playoffs? And
yeah, and that's what I'm saying. If you haven't used it, is it there when you need it?
right, I got the Eagles at number 2. They were number 1 last week. The Eagles, I took them down not for losing. They had their backup quarterback in, but to me, it's more of you just gave up 40 points, and your quarterback questions is my biggest thing. Is how hurt is Hurts? Um, is he going to play this week? Going into the season, it would really suck for the Eagles if they had this amazing season, their quarterback gets hurt, and he's not able to go in the playoffs, and they end up losing because of it. But hopefully they get it back for the playoffs. So Lane Johnson will be back for the playoffs. They're hoping as well, and that was really I didn't make that point when we are talking the Cowboys game, but they weren't getting to um, what's his face Gardner
Minshew,
Minshew.
yeah.
And Lane Johnson goes out that last drive, and they were able to put pressure on Minshew where he's hit that last throw. He threw it. He deceived it for his life, and it was like, where was that? That put a strain on him. But So hopefully Eagles get healthy, but I got the Eagles there at number 2.
I have Kansas City. They've somehow won football games. They are right at the top of the AFC. They've won that division. They haven't really looked bad. Mahomes has looked incredible.
Got like
They're going to be
5,000
very,
passing yards.
yeah. They're gonna be it just here we are. We thought he was going to lose a bunch, and he hasn't lost anything. And um, he's taking whatever's given to him and making it work. And he just continues to blow you away. And so, but I can't put him above the team I got at 1.
And we both had that same team at 1, the 49ers there. And they've just what they've been able to do with multiple different quarterbacks this season. This defense is has it. This is the first time they give up 20 points, and I think was it all year or just
Since October.
since October.
Since they gave up 40 to the Chiefs.
Purdy's come in and played really well. He's not scared to throw the ball, and this system that Shanahan has is created for that. He's created a system, and it's kind of weird to think about because the go to is if you don't have a good quarterback, you're not going to win games. And this guy's kind of created a system and built a team where he doesn't have to have a elite quarterback to win games. Jimmy Garoppolo is to me not an elite quarterback, but with Shanahan, his record's amazing. I don't know about Trey Lance, but Purdy's coming in there and stepped in there.
5-28 with quarterbacks not named Jimmy Garoppolo.
And Purdy, Purdy's has
he's 3-0 now.
3-0. So Purdy's looked good.
Yeah. That means my record with guys named Trey Lance is not very good.
Not very good. So, I just like this coaching staff, this team, this defense, and they look to be really the number 1 team in the NFC, in my opinion. I'm hoping to see a 49er Eagle NFC Championship game. I think that would be a fantastic matchup because they haven't played each other.
I go back to the 90s. Might be Cowboys 49ers.
Yeah,
in Santa Clara.
Could be. You got anything to add to that? I mean, you got the 49ers there too, number 1.
Yeah, no, they haven't let up 20 points, and ever since they got McCaffrey, which as soon as they got McCaffrey, I said that changed that whole team, and people called me crazy. You don't have the mysterious injuries. McCaffrey hasn't had a hangnail or a hamstring or all these things that showed up in Carolina. He's been there every week. He's been phenomenal every week. And that team is going to be a team that's not a team you want to face in the playoffs. They're built for playoff football, defensively, offensively. They just haven't missed a beat. And honestly, if Garoppolo's ankle heals, I don't want to be Shanahan. Because I don't want to have to make that decision. I would have rather had Garoppolo have to have the surgery and have that decision taken out of my hands. That's where I'm at. Is I don't want to have that decision in my hands because it's not one that we want to make. I mean, Purdy, he's looked amazing. So that's the number 1 team, and we're ready to go.
All right, there's your NFL Week 16 power rankings. Let's go ahead and look at the college football bowl games, and we're going to go through the important ones here coming up this weekend because there's a lot of bowl games being played. There's a game being played now, but there's nobodies. You got Wednesday night. You have Oregon playing North Carolina. That might be a decent football game. You got Ole Miss and Texas Tech that night as well. And then you go to Thursday, you have Oklahoma, Florida State, and you got Texas and Washington playing.
Yeah.
That's the Cheez-It Bowl and the Valero Alamo Bowl.
Cheez-It Bowl.
The Cheez-It Bowl. Friday, you have the notables is going to be Notre Dame and South Carolina, number 21 at 19. And then you have Tennessee at number 6 versus Clemson. And that might be a pretty good football game there. But Saturday is where it's all at, guys. Saturday is where it's at. Alabama goes and plays Kansas State 11 o'clock. And what sucks is I'm going. Well, it doesn't suck because I like going to my brother-in-law's. He just moved out. He 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 lives 2 hours, 2.5 hours away. I got to drive out there after work on Friday, and I got to text him in a little bit and say, "Hey, do you got a TV? Because I cannot miss TCU and Michigan playing 3 o'clock, and then you got Ohio State at Georgia later that night. So I hope he has TV because these are some games that I am not going to want to miss. Um, but those are your college football playoffs right there. And
It was funny. I was just having the discussion that how unimportant or talked about have the major bowls become. Your Sugar Bowl and your Fiesta Bowl and your Rose Bowl, like those aren't even talked about anymore. It's the I want to watch the 2 playoff games. I want to watch the national title, and it's like the major bowls that people used to want to be a part of. They wanted to be a part of the Rose Bowl. They wanted to be a part of the Sugar Bowl. They wanted to be a part of the Fiesta Bowl. Those games just don't even matter anymore. And talk about not matter. Wait till next year when they go to 12 teams. They won't matter at all. None of these will matter.
no. And my buddy Ryan used to be like, "Oh yeah, the we got this bowl." I'm like, I don't care unless it's playoffs.
Yeah.
You go
Yeah,
to your
no, yeah,
Fiesta Bowl
and I mean, like,
and
look, you Cheese It Bowl and your Pollen Weed Eater Bowl and your
the Capital
Dave's,
One Orange Bowl. Like I
yeah,
don't. Who
your
cares?
Dave's Meineke Car Bowl and you
Barstool
know,
Sports Arizona Bowl.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
an actual bowl I'm looking at.
yeah. It's just ridiculous.
Hold on, I got one for you. Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl.
Yep.
What in
Yeah,
the world are
and
we doing?
anybody who will sponsor it, you could have somebody that just randomly throws some money down and they would name it after him. It would be ridiculous.
The Tampax Bowl. It's like,
Yeah. I
well,
mean,
well, what's funny is the Orange Bowl. The two teams that are playing it wear orange, so that's kind of funny. But
yeah.
no, you're looking for the Sunday night, the Saturday matchups.
Yep. Your prime
People,
time,
people, yeah, people are gonna watch Alabama, so they'll probably whoop up on Kansas State.
I would think so.
Michigan probably beats TCU. I hate to say that because TCU is my team, and then I got Georgia. I got Georgia winning it all. I think you do too. I don't.
Probably.
I want to see a Georgia Michigan matchup.
I want to see it too because I want to see if Michigan can at least put up a better game than they did last year. Last year, I was so excited, and go in there and they just got worked. I mean, it was from the get go. You could tell that Georgia was a better. That quarterback last year was the guy that I wanted them to have as a quarterback. I didn't want them to use the other guy. They did, the Stinson Bennett, and I didn't think this guy could hit the water if he fell out of the boat. And he threw the ball all over him. I mean, just all over him. They ran, and the defense was great. And so I hope Michigan has a better answer this year. I just don't think TCU has faced a team like Michigan, the big, strong.
No.
I'm going to hit you in the mouth. I'm going to run the football for 300 yards. And if JJ McCarthy looks anything like he did against Ohio State, it's going to be over quickly.
Now, hopefully, we won't be
because
leaving guys wide open.
TCU is not a shootout at the OK Corral. You saw that at in the Big 12 championship game. And so we'll see. But I just don't. I expect Michigan to win by 14, if not more.
Yeah. If TCU does somehow win, I'm like, we're not beating Georgia.
No, that you want to talk about an unwatchable game. If TCU goes and plays Georgia, that thing will be over in the first quarter because they've never played a team like that. Nope. So if anybody has anything for Georgia, it's Michigan and Michigan only. Because Ohio State does not.
Real quick here, how do you feel about 12 teams in the playoff?
I think it's too many. I think it's way too many. I think 8 was more than enough.
Why don't we go 4 to 12?
Yeah,
it was like overkill.
I think the 4 teams now wouldn't play. They'd have a bye, and they've already had a month off, and now you're going to talk about a week or two off. I think you're going to be playing into February. You're going to have the college football
Super
playoff
Bowls.
that's going to run into the Super Bowl, and I just think it's too much. These kids, they're forgetting the reason they're really at school is not to play football or volleyball or basketball or whatever, and they're going to miss a damn month of the school year and just to play college football for thing. I think you got guys that are sitting out because they want to go to the draft, and now instead of playing one game or two, now they got to play 4 or 5. You're just increasing the chance for injuries. You're increasing the chance for something to happen and ruin these guys' paydays. And I just think you're going to see such a watered down deal by the time you get to it that it's not going to work. And I think they went too many.
It could have gone 6 or 8. I thought maybe going to 6 to see what it looked like, and maybe
And
8.
you're always going to
later.
have. I don't care if you have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. It doesn't matter. Whoever is 11, whoever is 13, whoever is 15.
I got
I mean,
cheated.
it's just like in the NCAA deal, they've gone to 67 and 68 still feels like they should have got it. Well, at 68, you're going to be a 16 seed. And guess how many times they've won? They've won one game in 108,000 years. So stop telling me that you got screwed and you're going to win the whole thing, because you're not.
Yeah,
and whoever is at 13 or 14 next year and thinks they should have got in, you're not going to beat Georgia. You're not going to beat Michigan. So stop.
Yeah, I mean, you might have that one year, but then
that's what I'm saying. You've had one guy.
Are you going to do it again? Are you going to go? Are you going to do it again and again and again and then win the championship? No, it's not. No, it's not going to happen.
You've had one Cinderella who 16 beat 1 in the NCAA deal, and then the next time out, just got their doors blown off, and Cinderella's slipper was smashed. So stop it.
Stop it. All right, guys. We got your headlines coming up right after this. All right, guys. The headlines of the week. We got another Tua concussion. Craig, my buddy messaged me Sunday after the game and was kind of joking about maybe Tua had a concussion. Maybe that's why he sucks so bad. And it turns out Tua might have actually had a concussion. He's in concussion protocol. We went back and found the play. It was because he had to tell of 2 halves of Tua. And I have the numbers here for you. Okay. In the first half, I told you when we talked about earlier, Tua was killing it. His numbers in the first half, he threw his 9 of 12, 229 yards, 19 yards per attempt, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. He gets tackled the very last play of the first half, and when he falls down, his head smacks the ground real hard. He comes out the second half, 7 of 13, 81 yards, only 6 yards per attempt, 0 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions.
Yeah, I'm aware.
I don't know what to say. How many times is this guy going to get concussed and be put back out on the football field?
Yeah.
The NFL.
No. The Miami Dolphins need to have someone on their staff that knows what a concussion is, because apparently they don't.
How does people miss this?
I don't know. You've talked to him. If you're the head coach, you had a conversation with this guy at halftime. You can't tell that there's something wrong. You put him back out there. He obviously, after the first interception, you have to go to him and go, what were you looking at? After the second interception, you got to go, hey, what are you looking at? And they didn't see any of it. And this is not, if this was the first time all year, okay, I get it. But here's a guy who has had to be carted off the field and had his hands were stiff from actually being blacked out of the field. He had the other concussion the week before where where they had to physically hold him up and walk him off the field, and they put him back in the football game and let him finish that football game. This team, if the NFL does not go to the Miami Dolphins, like I said the other day, I love what Mike McDaniel has done with that football team. I love everything they've done, but you are putting people in harm's way. And after the other one, they said he should retire. Now he's had a third one this season. I don't see how you can put him back on the field, even if you make the playoffs. I don't.
And I wasn't, when I said earlier, let me clarify. The NFL, I wasn't meaning the NFL as an issue. I'm saying the NFL has to come in and punish this Dolphins team. Take away a draft pick. They need to set their foot. They need to set that line right now.
Yeah.
This is absolutely not okay. You've already done it once.
They've already gotten a concussion doctor fired. That guy took the fall the first time. So who's going to answer this time?
They have to do something. I'm not talking about firing the head coach. They fine him, take away a draft pick. This is serious. And I don't know how you don't see that play and the guy up there that's watching go, hey, buzz in, stop this play, check out Tua, get him off the field, because you can clearly see this play and his head just whips on back, smashes.
And you had the whole halftime to be able to look at him.
You had the whole halftime.
Guy to be able to look at him and get a ding.
And looks absolutely Jekyll and Hyde. I mean,
yeah.
I thought, and we shouldn't have won the game, but I go, well, after seeing him the first half, I go, wow, this guy's killing us. And he comes out the second half and we call him Tua Claus over here because he's handing out Christmas presents.
Yeah. Oh, and just gift wrapped. I mean, just not even close. Oh. Wide receivers not even in the screen. I just saw a bunch of Green Bay jerseys was all I saw in every one of those interceptions. I was sitting there with my dad watching the game, and I'm looking at him and going, what?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. I lose my fantasy football playoff by 11 points because Tua gave away 6 on 3 picks. Here we go. Thank you, sir. And then Aaron Jones decides, I don't know where he was, maybe back in Green Bay.
He has an ankle injury that they.
Oh, well, thanks for that bit of information.
Yeah.
That'd have been good to know.
I actually didn't know that until the game started, and I was like, why are we not running Aaron Jones? And my buddy texted me.
They were on the 1 yard line and they threw the ball. I'm like, this isn't right.
He's nursing an ankle injury. Headline number 2, rumors are that the Jets will move on from Zach Wilson after the season. And 2 years? You're going to give this guy 2 years?
So confused.
And it hasn't been 2 years of straight trash football. It's been he played 2 games, you didn't like him, you benched him. You brought in someone else, you didn't like him, you brought back in Zach, you killed the guy's confidence. And now after 2 seasons, after drafting a first-round draft pick, you're going to get rid of him?
And the organization's not even talking the same, because when you ask Robert Saleh, Saleh's like, oh, we're not ready to move on from him. But he won't be active for Sunday's game. He'll have a hoodie on. What? Like, you're completely contradicting yourself. You're saying you're not going to move on with him, and that you're going to get him they're gonna get him spun up and get him taught up and get him the work that he needs. But he's gonna have a hoodie on and he's holding a clipboard like that. To me, Mike White and
Joe
the guy
Blow,
for the Ravens, Joe Flacco over there are not Zach Wilson. So I don't know.
This is how an organization continues to be bad.
Yes.
And this is how a head coach, a general manager loses their job.
Yep. And this is how teams get a number 2 draft pick for a number 5 or number 6 draft pick, pay nothing for him, and turn him into a good quarterback. So watch out for whoever grabs him and see if they can get him for nothing.
Someone will pick him up for nothing, and they'll and maybe he doesn't have anything, but 2 years.
But 2 years is not
after messing with his mental, like the way they have benching him.
Well, he's been hurt too. He had the shoulder injury.
He's been hurt, and he's not. I mean, the locker room doesn't get along up there with him.
Well, let's be honest. The Jets aren't like a great organization. They don't
No, they're not.
have
They're
a he didn't come into a playoff type
yeah,
organization and be terrible at football.
yeah. You're exactly right. So I just think it's too soon. And
I mean, Trevor Lawrence didn't look great the first 20 games of his
well,
career.
they what? Yeah, I'm like, were they benching him? And were
Yeah,
they
they didn't
like,
go
hey,
on. They
let's
didn't move on from him.
insane, absolutely insane. Denver Broncos fire their horrible head coach, Nathaniel Hackett. The wheels have finally fallen off there, and the dumpster is on
Broncos
fire.
country, let's ride.
Let's ride, and I love all the gifs. Those gifs are just freaking fantastic. You got the memes going. They fire him after the big blowout. I don't. My point is why not wait 2 more weeks and just get rid of
Yeah,
him? I just
yeah.
don't understand what's going to change in the next
You're
2
not
weeks.
gonna. You're not gonna. Whoever you put in now is not gonna be your head coach next year.
It's his first time being a head coach. You know, but the biggest
Basically,
question,
on Christmas Day, get fired. You
yeah,
know.
the biggest question is who's next? And they know they can't get rid of Russell Wilson. So who's going to sign up for that dumpster fire of a terrible quarterback, a defense that's supposed to be good, but just let up 51 to Baker Mayfield?
Well,
And
and the team is imploding. Like
I
Jerry Judy made a comment the other day. He's like, Russ told us that this was just God testing us. He goes, well, God's not the one that threw 4 picks, and God's not the one that there's Patrick in SpongeBob things making fun of. He
yes,
said, and I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, when your own wide receivers are like, no, it's you, dude.
yeah.
It's you. And the
The
people on
offensive
the
line over there
sideline,
screaming at
like
him.
the offensive linemen are coming over and they're having to be held back because Russ is going over there and saying something to him and they just want to kill him. Like, I'm half tempted to think that these offensive linemen just went, oh, have fun with that, Russ,
Yeah,
and let him go through and smash Russ. I mean, it
it's
has
bad.
been
This is.
a absolute train wreck
I saw
from the
something.
word go. Talk
I
about a guy who's had multiple concussions.
I saw something today. My buddy sent me. It was a Nathaniel Hackett response of, "I don't know what you want me to do with a quarterback that's got more bathrooms in his house than touchdown passes."
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Uh,
oh, great, great. No, you're right. I mean, the team. I've never seen a team talk like their quarterback like this. It's been happening all year. Yelling at their quarterback. You have wide receivers. Yeah, there's a wide receiver on Sunday. He's like, throw me the ball, throw me the ball. He's right waving his hands and he throws it way over his head to someone else. And the guy's like over here going, like, what are you doing? It's absolutely insane on how bad Russell Wilson is. And the Denver Broncos have put themselves in a hole. They can't get rid of this guy. If they were to cut him, they would be dead. Dead money would be like it's like $100 million.
through the roof. Yeah, it would
Um,
be salary cap suicide.
in years from now too. You let him go in
Oh
two
yeah,
years, it's 80 million. If you
yeah,
let
yeah. No,
what
unless they can find a trade partner and offset the, like, I'll pay this much and you pay this much. They're never getting rid of him.
it
And
might
and
it might be worth it just to cut him just to
well, it's
just
eventually going to cost Elway his job if it hasn't already. It's eventually. I mean, obviously, it costs Hackett his job. If you're Sean Payton, I don't know if you want to sign up and tarnish your legacy like this.
yeah.
Um,
I'm not signing up for Russell Wilson.
no, not like
Um,
this. I mean, right now, if you're Pete Carroll, you're looking like a genius. You're looking like
oh,
you moved
Pete
on.
Carroll's laughing himself all the way to the
Just
bank.
ha ha! I got a bunch of draft picks for that guy.
Yeah,
Uh,
this
yeah,
polished turd is what this guy
yeah,
turned out to
yeah.
be. Um, insane. I just don't get how it went that bad so fast.
That quickly, yes.
I just don't.
Yeah. The
It's.
bottom has fallen out.
I mean, we were every year. Russell Wilson. You're looking at Russell Wilson going, "Yeah, this is an elite quarterback. It's an elite quarterback." And then
Let
when
Russ cook.
they weren't doing that
Ooh.
bad, or they weren't. He wasn't doing that good. And you're like, "Well, he's on the Seattle. They run the ball a lot. They don't let him throw." And my gosh,
Maybe
whew,
there's a reason they didn't let him throw.
yeah, they saw what he was working with. J.J. Watt announces today that this will be his last season in the NFL. Um, guy's an absolute,
First ballot Hall of Famer
yeah,
and one of 3 people that are Defensive Player of the Year 3 times. The guy has just been
a class act.
on and off the field. I
Just
mean, every
he,
time you turn around, he's paying for somebody's funeral or spending time with little kids or donating time or donating money. And the way he retired, sliding it in an Instagram
yeah.
post,
Instead of
was
wanting
just
the sound, yeah,
absolutely JJ Watt esque. The guy doesn't want attention. He's done all these things his whole career, paying for different things and buying people things. And there was a guy who had a parlay that was going to hit if JJ Watt, if the Arizona Cardinals scored a defensive touchdown and Watt scoops up a fumble and was running to the end zone and the refs blew it dead, and he puts a Instagram post out that just cost me $10,000 in a parlay. And although Watt's not huge into sports gambling or anything like that, the guy says tells the guy, send me the ticket, and he sends him the ticket, and the next thing you know, he Venmos him 10 grand. And
that's cool.
it just, all these things he does, he doesn't want credit for any of them. He doesn't want attention brought to any of them. And he announces his retirement like this and didn't want it to be, just takes a picture of him and his wife and says, this is my daughter's first football game and my last home game. And everybody's like, what is this? And it took them 24 hours almost to figure it out. And that's just what Watt wanted. And it worked out. And I hope he's part of an NFL organization for years to come. I hope he's a defensive coordinator. I hope he's a head coach. I hope he's a GM. I hope he's something in the NFL
That
because, or an announcer,
yeah, analyst
something to do with the NFL, because that guy's just an absolute class act.
he is, and he's a great character, a great guy. You hate that. I hate that injuries played a big part in his
Yep.
career.
I hate that he never got to play in the big game or the playoffs very often, or
he
any of
played
that.
he played for a organization in Houston that is we've turned out in the last couple of years to be very
And of all the places he could have
just a
gone to pick
debacle.
Arizona, I don't know why.
Yeah, just a debacle. You would like to see him go and get a ring.
Yeah.
But class act, like you said, and his brother is on his way the same path there in Pittsburgh.
Yes.
An absolute beast. He does have the health issues as well, but that's for another day. But JJ Watt, kudos to you, brother. All right, Craig, we got one more here, and I'm going to let you do this because you know more about it. You're kind of right there in the front lines of. I want you to break down the Carlos Correa debacle for us, if you would, in the Major League Baseball.
So Saturday we did a show, and I come on here and said the Giants found an injury, and I can't believe it's from 2014. It's an ankle injury where he slid. It hasn't been a problem his whole career. And while I didn't necessarily want the guy because he's a career 270 hitter, he can't hit home runs. He's making people move positions and all this stuff. Lo and behold, about an hour later, the Mets find the same problem.
Yeah, literally.
And
we turned off the podcast, and I'm like, Mets have what?
Yeah. And so here we are back to square one, where the Mets are like, I don't know if we can give you this much money. So there's something that has come up in this injury where we think that it's going to start to become a problem. He's going to start to miss baseball games because of this. Either the site of the wound is brittle, or there's the chance of an infection, or there's chances of something for for two teams. And all San Francisco wanted, they didn't immediately say like the Mets. The Mets have automatically said, we're not going $315 million for 12 years with this injury. We'll redo it. We'll restructure it. The Giants, all they wanted originally was time to go talk to another doctor, to go say, hey, listen, are our concerns valid or not? And Scott Boras said, nope, we're not doing it, and pulled the deal. The Mets have basically said, we're not paying you that. So you can restructure or you can take a hike. And I think what this is going to come down to is you're going to find a team. I don't know who it's going to be. The Mets are confident that they can get it worked out, they said. I'm not, because of the agent that he's dealing with. With Scott Boras, Boras sees dollar bills. He doesn't see team friendly opt out clause, this clause, that clause. That's why I was shocked that he signed the 1-year deal with Minnesota, because Scott Boras doesn't do that. Scott Boras wants to back up the Brinks truck and make as much money as he can, strike while the iron's hot. He doesn't do 1-year prove it deals. What I think you're going to find is just like where the Red Sox wrote in the JD Martinez, they had the questions about his foot, that they weren't sure about his foot. They found a deal in the physical, and they went to JD and they said, listen, we're willing to do this. We're willing to move forward. We're willing to go forward with this, but we're going to put the nomenclature in the contract to where if you miss games because of this foot, we can not be responsible for this money, or and they wrote the deal a certain way to where everybody was happy. If I continue to play and don't miss games, I'm going to get my money, but if I miss a ton of games because of this foot injury, I take a less amount of money. This structure, everything like that, and they restructure it. I think that's what you're going to have to see for a team for Correa, because now that two teams have found it, every doctor is going right to that ankle and looking at it. That's the first thing they're looking at. And he will never pass a physical with everybody looking at it. With two teams that found the same and have the same concerns and are going to the same specialist and calling these surgeons and calling this and that, I don't foresee a team just overlooking it and going, all right, Carlos, sign on the dotted line for $300 million. So I don't know if he signs with the Mets. That's what they want. That's what the thing. Major League Baseball is extremely upset that the Mets have come out and gone into so much detail of HIPAA, basically just threw HIPAA right out the deal, because the Giants just said it's an injury we were concerned about, and we can't go forward with it. And then even when they did come out with it, they were like, well, it's a leg injury from 2014. That's really all we could say. The Mets are like, ankle injury, break, surgical, this, that, stent. He had this, he had that. He's got ligament damage. Like, they are just full blown Doogie Howser MD over here, just telling the whole world about Carlos Correa's leg, and MLB is not happy about it at all. So I don't know if there's fallout from that down the road. But boy, I'll tell you right now, one of the biggest names in baseball for the last several years is the talk of the offseason. And it'll be very interesting to see where he lands and the amount of money that he lands, and to be able to watch the season that he has and whether he misses games because of whatever he's got going on.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I don't think we've ever seen anything like this. And you do want that stuff kind of on the hush hush. You don't want the Mets out there blabbing about the exact details of everything. But be
Nathan
interested to
Eovaldi
see.
just signed with the Rangers for 2 years and $34 million.
Who did?
Nathan Eovaldi.
Why does he sound familiar?
He's a Red Sox. Well, he was on the Red Sox pitching staff for the last several years.
He sounded familiar.
Red Sox and yeah, he was on the Boston's World Series team.
So he's old.
2 years, $34 million pending physical.
Nice. I'll take it. We need as many bullpen and starting pitchers as we can get, but we also need an outfielder as well to go along with it. But we'll see. We'll see how the season pans out. I'm ready to see DeGrom, and might need to get me a DeGrom jersey, but we'll have to see. My next jersey I'm going to get it's a Dallas Stars jersey though. I just don't. I'll probably get Robo. He's an absolute beast.
That's what's hanging in my closet.
They're expensive though, man. They're like $130 if you want
Quad pay, bro. Quad pay.
If you want the. But, anyways, guys, that's your breakdown of the show today. Thanks for breaking that down, Craig. Great job there. We're getting close to the playoffs. We're going to be talking about that a lot, getting into the playoff picture here. And I don't know about you, Craig, but I'm interested to see the new Pro Bowl. They change it up. Now it's a flag football game without
football,
without pads like it used to be.
Skills competition.
So we'll see. We'll see. I kind of like that stuff, but we'll see.
It's just when you have a guy in Hundley.
Yeah, it waters it down, and it's just
it is the fourth QB selection, and Tua's not a Pro Bowler. Like what a season he had.
It's the
for a minute, Tua was in the MVP race, and now he's not a Pro Bowler, but yet a guy who hasn't been able to put up points as a second string quarterback in the Ravens is a Pro Bowler. I'm very confused.
It's the basketball
popularity.
Everybody gets in. Everybody gets in.
Yeah.
One thing we didn't mention: Dirk Nowitzki's statue was put up on Christmas Day. Beautiful statue here in front of the American Airlines Center of his beautiful fadeaway shot. So that's pretty cool. All right, guys, that's the show for today. We will see you back here on Friday. God bless, and remember,